Train by day, Kyle Wigginton podcast by night, all day.
Yeah, no. So mixed feelings on the beard because, well, I don't have it twisted today, but I've been twisting it up. Yeah.
Do you use like the stash?
I don't have stash wax. I just use the same gel I use in my hair, and I just like twist it up and rotate it. One day there was a girl in here, and she was like, "You're so much more handsome without the beard and the mustache." And I was like, "No, I think I'm just not twisting it right."
No, I think that's a bougie preference. And
well, no, I just started twisting it. And every time she would tell me that I'm more handsome without it, I was like, I think I'm just not twisting it right. No. That was just my answer to her.
Or you could just be like, hey, be less cunty and be more nicey.
Oh no, she wants me. Yeah, she likes the beard. She just didn't want to admit it. So anyway, Laura Nieves.
Nieves.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's like my last name is actually really interesting because it's Scottish. But
did I say it wrong?
Yes, in Scottish you said it right, Nieves. But in Spanish we enunciate every vowel, so it's Nieves.
Nieves.
Yes.
But it's Scottish, so I said.
Yeah,
it right.
So you said it right anyways.
How do you have a Scottish last name?
Colonization. So there was a point in history where there was a whitening of Latin America. So a lot of individuals in South America and in Central America and in the Caribbean were looking to lighten the race because they thought that would be more beneficial for the people after slavery, right? After the emancipation. And what ended up happening was the British ended up sending Scottish and Irish prisoners to the Caribbean. So that's how a lot of us in the Caribbean have Scottish last names that we've made Spanish.
Why did people even adopt last names? Like I understood at one time it was like to show where you're from, right?
I think so. I think that's why the name like in like the Norwegians, they do like Eric's son or like something daughter.
Well,
right?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Right.
Leonardo of Vinci.
Yeah. Or even in America, right? John's son. You know?
So you think it's just John's son?
Yeah, essentially.
That's what it means?
Yeah, because during slavery, you had people who, when people were freed from slavery, they would take sometimes their master's last name so that people knew what plantation they were coming from. Mm-hmm. So it would be like, I am of John, right? Or John's son, or so it was a way to like keep a lineage.
Okay.
I know, right?
It's kind of interesting.
It's wild.
So you, Laura used to be a bartender here, and then you were also working on your PhD.
Correct.
And your PhD was?
In cultural anthropology.
Yeah. And what happened there? You said you left academia for...
I did. So I started off, I grew up an academic. My parents have PhDs. And I was like, man, I got to live up to that, right? And so I just followed that path. And then by the time I got to my PhD, I was so burnt out because it was like, oh, you're making me do the same thing again and again and again. Fucking over it. Like I can curse on here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this. And then I didn't feel like I had enough support.
You mean just like studying and taking tests and all this bullshit? Is that what you mean?
It was like, prove to me that you know what you know. And I get it. Like that's part of what academia is. But it's like, if I'm doing all this research and it's going to sit in a book on a shelf and no one's going to see it, what's the fucking point? What's the point? And I think that's the problem with academia. Like when I got my master's, it was at a Latino serving institution. So a lot of my students were either undocumented or first generation college students. Mm-hmm. And then I come here to Tulane and all of these kids are fucking spoiled brats.
Right.
And I'm like there was this one kid, I remember I was teaching a class and this one dude was like, I was like, okay, so this is going to be your attendance for today, getting small groups, because that's part of my pedagogy, right? Like, let's learn from each other. Mm-hmm. And then we'll come back together and share what we've learned. And I was like, just write your name on this paper, answer the questions. And this little shit was like, he raises the paper up over his head and it was like, you mean I have to write my name on this? And my inner bartender came out because I was still working here at the time. And I was like, bro, I just work here. And he was like, he lowered the paper real slow. I was like, okay, do not fuck with this one, you know? So it's that kind of attitude that was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I don't know much about. I mean, I've been on campus at Tulane. I've met some of the people there, but I hear a lot of bad things about the people that go there. Yeah, I haven't interacted with too many of them though.
The Loyola students are a lot better. They seem to have a different kind of grounding.
Isn't it right down the street from?
It's literally next door.
Yeah.
Like, it's around the corner.
Isn't that weird too that you have two colleges right next door to each other?
Well, Tulane is private. Loyola is a little bit more, they do get public and private funding because they're a Jesuit university. So there's different Loyolas around the country. Like there's a Loyola in Chicago as well.
Okay.
I think they have another one in New York too.
Yeah, I don't know much about the schools around here. I didn't go to school here.
I know Arkansas.
I just moved up in this motherfucker and took over.
I always know when you're here because I see a little Arkansas license plate because you don't have to pay Louisiana taxes.
Don't tell anyone. I'm not supposed to be still doing that.
Everyone does it.
Yeah, it's what we were actually talking about this on the podcast earlier that I was referring to Carrot. Do you remember Carrot?
Oh, I love Carrot.
Yeah.
He's actually coming to stay at my house for Riot Fest.
Oh, in Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember one time he was telling me that his car didn't have insurance, license plate, or tags. And I was like, and you're still driving around? He's like, yeah, dude, the cops aren't going to pull anybody over. Okay, whatever, Carrot. One night we're all at Miss Mays and this motherfucker is just in front of Miss Mays at like 3 a.m. just doing a fucking burnout in that car. No license plate, no insurance, no nothing. And this idiot's doing that. I was like, you're insane, man.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh, I love Carrot so much. Like, so him and his partner, Allie, go to Chicago for Riot Fest. I think they've gone for the last couple years. And this year, now that I'm back home and I have like my house, I was like, hey, do you guys want to come stay? I got a pull-out couch. So now I have like, and then I think Jer Bear's coming too. So,
nice.
And then Lauren's coming. So I have like a full house.
All for Riot Fest?
All of September.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
So like there's going to be 4 people. I got like an inflatable mattress. I have the pull-out couch. And then somehow Lauren's going to maneuver in there somewhere.
Bring New Orleans to Chicago. I like it.
Yo, I brought everybody there.
Yeah.
The only person I feel like that hasn't gone is Towner. And I was like, why don't you and Vance come together? Like, just, you know.
Yeah, because Charlie helped you move back, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He did. We took the drive. Together with Apollo, my dog, in the back seat. He was like really good at road trips now.
After that long road trip?
After the first time. Yeah, no, I've done the trip with him about, I think it was 4 times now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he knows half a tank of gas. I put the gas in. We wait. I pull the car. We go for a walk. He hops back in. I do drug him up though. I give him doggy CBD.
Yeah. Does it work?
Hell yeah. He just goes to sleep. He sleeps for like the whole ride. But I also did the trip so many times I could time it. So if I leave at 3 a.m., I can get to either city between 7 and 8 p.m.
That's a long fucking drive, dude. You just go straight down 55, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you take the 10 to 55. 55 becomes 57, becomes 88, becomes 90-94, and then you're in Chicago.
Yeah. So you drive right by where I am from.
Okay. So Arkansas, I'm only in Arkansas literally for like an hour, but it's like the flat part of Arkansas. And it's...
Well, you shouldn't be in Arkansas at all.
No, when you take it, I go through all of Mississippi, and then I'm in...
You go through Mississippi, then Tennessee.
I'm in Tennessee for a little bit, and then I go through Arkansas, and then I hit Missouri, and then I hit Illinois.
I don't think... Does 55 go through Arkansas? I think you go like beside of it.
No, I'm in Arkansas for a solid hour, and it's the longest hour of my life because it all looks the same. It's so flat.
Yeah, I don't know where you're at. But Jonesboro, if you ever see a sign for Jonesboro. Yeah, that's the city next door to where I'm from. Little bitty small town.
Little bitty small town. But you're such a big personality for a small town.
Yeah. So that's another thing we were talking about on the podcast is like, he was saying that the reason he went into comedy is because he didn't really fit in.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I didn't really fit in either. And I think a lot of it is because of this big personality coming from a small town like that. and always questioning everything. I've always been questioning everything that I've been around. And in small towns, people don't like it when you question everything.
Right. Because you're challenging the norm, because you're making a statement for yourself. I think that's why I've always appreciated our conversations, because it's like really interesting to like hear your perspective on things. And it's like, wow, okay, that's something I didn't realize or didn't know. And like I'm glad I can like sit and like hear and listen to you. And I feel like a lot of people in the southern regions do come to cities like New Orleans, or like go to Memphis or like Nashville, even Jackson, right? Because, or Houston, because there is that availability in a larger place to have a voice and be yourself. And even if it's questioned, it's not looked down on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important, right? For people to have that kind of voice and space, regardless of what other people believe. And like, I know we're going through this whole political turmoil, like my mom calls it a shit show roller coaster right now. But I think it's important for people to have that voice to be able to say, like, that's why we live here, right? Like,
Yeah, especially this city right here. Because I mean, you can literally do anything. You can be anything you want, and no one's gonna bat an eye.
yeah.
Yeah, there are times when I've gone to the grocery store to get groceries, and there'll be a 80-year-old woman in there wearing fairy wings, and everyone's just going about their day like no one bats an eye at her, because that you never know what you're going to see in this city. Even last night at Midsummer Mardi Gras, you guys are probably having a blast up there. Don't tell them what you saw.
I saw everything. Like,
Yeah.
I almost wanted to wear like a tutu and wings, but I couldn't fit them in my carry-on because Spirit's going to charge me $50 for that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was awesome. We saw, I mean, there were the stompers, there's the bands. Like Midsummer Mardi Gras has always been my favorite because it's the local Mardi Gras. Like it's only people from the city. It's low key. You don't have to worry about tourists yelling at you and blocking off roads and putting up tents or little picket fences. And it's so pure and enduring. It's literally like, hey, we're hot and it fucking sucks, but it's joy. It's pure joy. So I got to see my weather girls, my old dance crew. So that was fun. It was a lot smaller this year, but I mean, I think it was Crew to Freaks that was doing it.
Why was it smaller this year?
I don't know. Maybe it just seemed smaller because I was in it last year.
Possibly.
But when I was walking, when you're walking and dancing for 2 miles, it feels like an eternity. It was 110 degrees at like 8:00 at night last year. And I just remember we're getting buckets of water poured on us. It's like everyone was in a bathing suit because it was like, we don't want you to overheat.
Especially being on the road and stuff. Like on the asphalt, it's even hotter. Yeah.
Bruh. But it was cool. I miss the big bands. I miss the New Orleans vibe, but it's also like summertime Chicago. So New Orleans is like summertime Chicago, but like all the time. So like in Chicago, we only have like 6 months of summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so people get to be wild and crazy and wear tutus and wings and whatnot. But that's just for like that time.
Dude, I feel like that's a lie.
If you catch that in like January, they're gonna be like, bitch, put some clothes on.
I was the only time I've been to Chicago was in January.
No.
And I will never go back to that fucking city again.
You gotta come in like June. June and July are awesome.
It was so cold.
What was the temperature? Was it like polar vortex?
I don't even know. So at one point we were there for working on a movie, and at one point I was on a rooftop, and everyone else is like bundled up in all these clothes, and I have to look cool, right? Because I'm the lead actor. So I had this like long trench coat on, and that was like it. The trench coat, I had other clothes on too, but I mean this long trench coat was all I had that was actually like keeping me warm, and I was freezing my fucking balls off on a rooftop.
Oh, because you got the wind up there.
Oh, it was bad, dude. So bad. I was like, fuck this. I'm never going back.
No, come in the summer. It's awesome.
I don't believe you. I think it's going to be cold up there then too.
No. It's the same temperature. Yesterday it was 90 degrees there. It was 90 degrees here. In August is this time you'll get the same temperature. Because like when I moved down here, I left a heat wave in Chicago. It was like 90 degrees at night. And then by the time I got here, it was like, oh, it was easy to assimilate in that way.
I feel like you're not assimilated to it right now. Look at you over there sweating.
I'm premenopausal, so this is called a hot flash.
Is that what it is?
Yes, this is true. I have no shame. I didn't know menopause could last for like 30 years, and I just started, so I'm in for a ride.
That's a joke, right?
No, it's real.
Really?
Yes.
Hey, aren't you young for that?
No, actually, I'm at the right age.
Okay. I thought you were young.
I
You look young.
do not look my age, but I take that. I mean, black don't crack and brown don't frown. So,
What does white not do?
age gracefully.
White doesn't age gracefully? Oh my God. You would never know I'm 65.
Only with that beard and if it was white, all the way white.
It's getting close.
No, you got like the wisps, the wisps. You still look like, honestly, if you put on a flannel right now, you could totally like pass for a lumberjack in Portland or like Oregon.
A sexy lumberjack guy?
Yo, you could make that your new stripper gig.
Maybe I will.
You should. You could make a lot of money.
I'll go down to Oz and start stripping.
Yo, I know you can make money doing it.
Anyway. So, but I want to ask you something else about your research stuff. You said that you think that it would just go in a book and go on a shelf and never get looked at again.
Correct.
Like, why do you think that? You don't think that someone's ever gonna like take your research and expand on it more? Because isn't that the whole point of like going through a PhD?
Yes, essentially, you want to build off other people's research, but it's still so like, how do you make that available to the community that I'm actually working with and speaking for? Right, like I can give them the book, but there's so much jargon that is like you have to use particular words and phrase things in particular sentences. So if someone has like an 8th grade reading level comprehension, how are they going to understand words that are put together that are larger in context that you have to break down? Like I remember my first year in grad school when I was getting my first master's, I had to reread sentences again and again and again until I was like, oh, okay.
Yes, you understood the words and stuff.
Yes, because you put all these words together and they have to mean something. But how do you make that available to people in the community who have an 8th grade education?
I got it. I know how.
Pictures?
No, 2 words: artificial intelligence.
Okay, I want your take on artificial. Let me get comfortable.
I love AI.
I want your take on artificial intelligence.
Okay, I love it. I use it all the time. I use it a lot for writing emails and things like this because my writing style is crap. My mother's an English teacher, my sister's an English teacher, but I wasn't blessed with that.
But I read your paper and it was understandable and it was really well thought out and written.
Yeah, I'm good at like word vomit. Like I just normally like put out my whatever I'm saying on paper. But what I've started doing is if I want an email to sound more professional, I'll write what I want the email to say and I'll dump it into my AI program and I'll say, make this more professional.
Do you have the Chat GPT?
I use several different programs. One of them is Chat GPT. But I also use coze.com, COZE.com. And on that, you can actually make your own AIs.
Wait, how do you make your own AIs?
It's kind of complicated, but you go in and you basically add these like they're not called pods, but we'll say they're like pods or whatever. So like ChatGPT is one of the pods you can use, and you add it in, and then there are like several other ones you can add in. So you like piece together other AIs to make your own. And you can even take, so for instance, if you were doing a paper, I'll give you an example of one that I made.
Yeah.
My buddy's a high school basketball coach.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going to make you an assistant coach for your basketball team. And he was like, okay, whatever. He didn't give a shit. So anyway, I find all these like basketball books from like all these Coach K and people that are like these prolific basketball coaches. I find all these manuals for like different plays you can run and things like this. And I made my own database full of knowledge that this AI could learn from. Yeah. And what this AI particular AI can do is it made a format or a template for him to input his player data. So he can test his players and then input the players into the AI. So the AI now thinks this is my team.
What?
Yeah. And then he can do the same thing for the opposite team that he's playing against. And the AI will actually break down a game plan for him. And then after the game's over, he can import the game film into the AI and it'll break down what went wrong during the game.
Yo, this is like, I mean, fantasy football is over now. Like you can't, like if you can do something like that with basketball, you could do it with essentially any sport and any team.
Yeah.
So like if people are playing fantasy football and they're not using AI to do it, I'm just imagining how much money is going to get crazy this football season.
Well, that's so you have to get people to use them though. Cause I made him this AI and he still has yet to use it. It's just sitting out there in the ether, like on the internet somewhere at coast.com. It's called Basketball Jones if anyone wants to use it. But yeah, it's out there. It's like in the templates. I have all the templates made and everything. So all I have to do is input his data and put it into it. But he doesn't do it. So you have to get people to use the AIs, which is the same thing with your paper. What you can do is you go ahead and format it to be an academic paper, but then you dump the paper into AI and say, write this at an 8th grade level, and it'll do it.
I didn't think of that. But also, so my mom's a professor. She's tenured up north, and she has taught her students because she's like, look, this is going to put us, like, you no longer need to be an educator if people are going to write papers for you. Like, if AI is going to write papers, like, she feels like academia is a dying kind of thing because AI learns with what you input, right? And so it works through that. So she's teaching her students to use Chat GPT as a tool and not as a full writing mechanism, right? Like,
Yeah.
she's like, you can tell, like, you didn't write this. Like, you can tell you didn't write this. And I think that's why every professor, like, a smart thing for professors to do, FYI, is give your students a prompt on like the second day of class. Look at their writing style, see what words that they normally use, right? What keywords they use. And you can always tell if they use ChatGPT because it won't necessarily use those words in the same context. So if you're like, hey, write a paper about this, like you're not going to see it in your own words. So you just have them like handwrite like a paragraph. Yeah. And from that, you can determine their writing style for the rest of the semester.
I think we need to change the entire way we educate kids.
Absolutely.
If the issue is them cheating because they don't want to write a paper, maybe we should go, hang on, why do they not want to write this paper?
Right.
Because it's not something they're actually interested in.
Exactly.
So what we should do is we should figure out what kids are actually interested in and then let them write papers about those things rather than pushing stupid subjects on them that they don't want to know anything about.
Right. So what I used to do with my students, I'm like, for particular classes I would teach, I'd be like, here's a list of topics.
Mm-hmm.
Which interest you? If you don't like any of these, pick one and we'll talk about it and do that. But I want you to write about what you want to write about.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're going to learn is if it's something you want to do. Mm-hmm. You have to want to do these things. And I think we shove shit down kids' throats so hard. No, pedo. Like, but we shove all this information and rote memory down their throats. There are some things that are important for people to know, but I think communication is something that is something that has to be worked through with other people. Like, you can't teach someone, you shouldn't have to communicate a certain way. You know, communication is important for learning because that's why like the Montessori method works so well because you have kids from different ages teaching each other in one classroom. So you have like ages, grades 3 through 5 in one classroom and the older kids, and you get to pick, I want to learn this right now. As long as you have they have a checklist. So they get to pick what they want to learn within the week.
See, that wouldn't work for me though, because I hate teaching people things. Definitely not a teacher, man. Like I love to learn. I love to self-learn, I would say. But I hate like actually teaching other people things, especially when someone doesn't get it. I'm like, what do you not get about it?
Right. But there's also no, like, and I think this is like my big like pedagogy, right? Like we need each other to learn because this is another reason I don't like academia. Everyone has different knowledges. Mm-hmm. And we're here on this earth, not only to take care of each other, but to learn from each other. So it's important for us to share knowledge with each other. And I don't think that should ever be quantified by a degree, even though I'm almost 5.
Yeah.
I do it because I do it, but I don't believe any one person is more intellectual than another. I think we all have different knowledges that are survival mechanisms as well.
Not even that. Our brains work differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everyone's brain works a little differently. So, I mean, you need all these people to make this world function.
Absolutely.
Do you ever think that we're going to get to a world where it's not about your degrees that you have? Because I feel like we're moving into that world right now where it's more about your knowledge that you have over your degrees.
I think in 100 years, I expect like Mad Max dystopian, but that's also because I've been binging that.
Yeah. I actually watched I watched the
Furiosa, the new one.
Yeah.
Yo, it was cool. I like that I got the backstory of why she has that like robotic arm and stuff. Spoiler, sorry.
Well, you didn't tell him how she did it, but
no. Okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, you didn't spoil anything yet.
No, but like I think essentially, like if you just, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen in my lifetime, which I don't know. It might. I'm a millennial. I'm an older millennial. I'm almost 40, and like I just feel like I've seen so much in my lifetime. Like they're calling it like the 1900s now, and I was like, shut up.
So the only reason that I work out is because I'm waiting for the apocalypse to happen. And with my luck, it's going to happen when I'm like 70 and can barely move.
No.
And I'll just be like, fuck, dude. Worked out my whole life for this.
I've also been watching The Walking Dead again. And I'm like, I could kill somebody. And I'm like, but I'm so docile. I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I worked here, I was a hard ass because I had to be because I'm 4'11".
You're the only one here too. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to be a hard ass.
I was 4'11". And behind the bar, I'm always like, but I'm 6'2" inside. But I would come out from behind the bar and everyone was like, oh, you're a lot shorter than I thought. Like, yeah, that's right. You know? So but that's, you know, when you bartend, you have a personality.
Yeah.
It's a performance. It's a show. You're there to make money and do your job.
Yeah.
And when people meet you, there's been times where like I would date people and they would be like, oh, but you're not that person. And I'm like, I know I'm not that person. I'm actually, for the record, really nice and very sensitive, but I can't let people see that when I'm kicking them out, you know?
People would say that I'm a bit aggressive behind the bar and I talk about very crazy things, but once again, it's my bartending personality.
It's your performance.
And people come back to hear that.
They enjoy it.
Like there are literally people that come here and just listen to me clown people all night long.
Yo, sometimes you be saying some shit, I'd be like, oh my God, Kyle, this is great. Because it's people's reactions, but it makes them want to come back. Yeah. You know?
I don't know I think you might have been gone when I started making mead.
I was gone.
Did you hear about my vagina mead?
No. I mean, I heard that Kyle was doing something with mead, but I didn't. I was like, well, that's just Kyle. I was like, Kyle's going to do stuff.
Yeah. So I found a lab that ships yeast.
Is it from Michigan?
No, this is from North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got some vaginal yeast from them, and I made mead with vaginal yeast.
Okay, wait. So I'm confused about how they get vaginal. Like, are they just scraping women's vaginas and putting it in like a tube and mailing it out?
I guess it's like a pap smear, and they didn't put it on agar plates and grow it.
But is that is that consensual? Like, this is the woman okay with her yeast being used for profit?
I didn't ask. I just bought it. Yeah.
That's weird.
But you know how I found all these things was I asked AI. So I asked AI, I was like, what form of yeast is in the vagina? And it gave me all 6 forms. And I said, what is the most prevalent? And it gave me the most prevalent. And I said, if I have asked all the females around me if I can sample them and they all say no, where can I go to obtain some yeast?
Oh my God, bro. Are you going to start doing your own pap smears now and shit? You're not licensed for that.
No, I asked all the females that I know and they were all like, no, go to hell.
Yeah. Yes. That's like, bro, like stay out of my vag.
What? It was for science. Okay.
Okay. Well, okay. So then are you going to start like collecting stem cells and making stem cell meat?
It's not a bad idea. I've been looking for my next hobby.
I'm glad I was able to offer it up to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But no, so I ordered from this company, and you know, every time you order like a biological sample from a company like this.
No, I don't know. Tell me.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, you do different research. Yes. So whenever you order a sample like this, they'll give you like 2 weeks to do your experiment, and they ask you how'd the experiment go, how was our sample, all this stuff right here. So they sent me the questionnaire, and at first I wasn't going to fill it out, but then I was like, you know what? They might think this is cool. So I immediately filled out all the information, even sent in pictures and videos of like the experiment that I did. They pulled my all my stuff right off the website instantly. I guess they didn't like my experiment.
Oh, I don't know what you'd be doing, Kyle. I know you're a minimalist, so like I'm really interested to see what kind of jars you have in your apartment.
Oh, my brew kit is amazing. And I have a very clean apartment. Some people would say it's almost American Psycho clean. I'm not sure that's a good thing.
I have to return some videotapes. I love that movie. I shouldn't.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. I have to return some videotapes.
Patrick Bateman. Yeah, I'm very minimalist, but yes, I do maintain a clean, sanitized working area whenever I'm doing my experiments.
This is so wild. So you're like a brain. Do you have a pinky?
No, I need to get pinky. Maybe Wayne's my pinky.
Is he like down to clown and experiment with you?
No, Wayne just likes to tell me that I'm stupid and the things that I'm doing are dumb. But then he likes to listen to what I'm doing too.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a life.
That's just how supportive he is. Some people are supportive in their own ways. You know?
Yes. And I think he's such a great guy, but the fact that he's like willing to listen to you and even like talk trash is like awesome.
Even though he wouldn't sample my vagina mead.
Okay. So I need to continue on this. So you got vagina yeast samples.
Okay.
And what did you do with them?
I made mead.
How do you make mead?
Okay, so mead is typically spring water or any kind of water, basically, but it's filtered water, honey, and then yeast.
Okay.
Okay, and you typically use a brewer's yeast because it raises the alcohol content higher. Because yeast will die if it's in like a certain pH level.
Right.
So whenever
I know that from my vagina. Yes.
Yes. So rather than using brewer's yeast, I just basically put the other yeast in there.
So you substitute it.
Yeah. So it's more of a kombucha because it didn't get a very high alcohol content.
Oh.
Yeah. It's kombucha.
Okay, but like, what if someone has like an
kombucha?
What if someone has like an infection and you're like feeding like infected yeast to people, vagina yeast?
Well, you mean like a yeast infection?
Yeah.
So all it is overgrowth of yeast.
Yes.
So that would actually be good for the brew. But you're not getting the whole like because like.
I'm sorry, this is great.
But I think it would be good for the brew because you're getting a higher concentrate of yeast. But at the same time, you don't want to sample just like straight from the vagina into the vat. What you want to do is you want to grow it on agar plates first so you can separate the yeast out. Because there are multiple types of yeast in your vagina as well as other things.
Yeah. Oh, no. I know about my vagina.
Yeah. So
I haven't had a yeast infection in a very long time because I'm very clean.
Right.
And I drink a lot of water. My mom always said, water, walking, wine. And this is why I don't look my age.
It says what? Water, walking, and
water,
wine?
walking, wine.
The 3 W's.
The 3 W's.
3 Dubs. But yeah, that's basically what I did. And then you let it set for a while and the yeast grows and eats the sugar and then turns it into alcohol.
So how many people were like willing to try your vagina mead?
I think I had about 15. I made 3 bottles out of the stuff that I made. 1 bottle still aging in my closet. So I have 1 bottle left.
No, that's very American Psycho. Yo, I have a bottle of vagina mead in my closet.
Yeah, the fingers, I pushed them out of the way and then I put the bottle in. But no, yeah. So like, I think about 15 or 20 people tried it and they all liked it.
Did you bring it here?
Yeah.
Do you have it here?
No, that's all gone. The only bottle I have left is the one in the closet.
Next to the frozen head. Yeah, I will say when I come back, because I'm leaving on Monday.
You want to try it.
I want to try it.
Whoa. So there's only been 2 females that tried it and you would be the 3rd one.
I'll try anything once.
Here's what's nuts is the whole idea behind this. And if anyone wants to take this, go for it, run with it. I've already lost interest in the hobby.
And that's why it's in the back of your closet.
That's why it's in the back of my closet. So I still make some mead. Like someone actually ordered a whole case of my mead. Because there was one version that I made is actually really fucking good, but it's just I don't see myself doing this like on a large scale. But the whole concept and idea behind this was to go to celebrities and say, "Hey, I want to make your own brand of
vagina
mead."
This is Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina meat.
Or Kim
Yo,
Kardashian.
you know what?
Yeah.
I think
Kombucha.
I think Gwyneth Paltrow, because she's been doing all this like sex positivity.
Yeah.
I think she would be down for that.
I
You
think
know
she would
what?
too.
I think you could make a lot of money. You could start on the dark web, but I think if you did this and like anywhere on eBay, Amazon, I think you could make a lot of money off vagina meat because there are people out there that are like American psychos.
No.
Full circle, like,
Dude, guys would
I
drink the
want
shit
a
out of
vagina.
that.
Yeah.
So, and I also,
men don't want to admit how much they love to eat vagina, especially when it's good.
oh, I love the vaginas.
I love to eat vaginas
That's
too.
one of my favorite things in the world. Sorry, Mom. Like,
well,
it's
and
gonna
now,
be weird
and
to
now
talk
that you
about
have your
this.
stash, you get a flavor saver.
No, honestly, I don't even drink the mead that I make. I tried it. I try it with everyone that tries it because they don't believe that I make it all with vagina mead now, or
Yeah.
vagina yeast. So I make sure I try some of it with everyone. Because I bring it up here to sample sometimes. But yeah, the whole idea was to go to celebrities and get them to sample their yeast. But then I was talking to a few of the female friends that I have, and I was telling them the idea, and they were like, I don't really want to try anyone else's, but I kind of want to try my own.
Yo, you could make. Why are you not making this a business?
It could be huge. Yeah, you're right.
You can make a lot of money.
I have this thing called ADHD where I do something and I lose interest
Same.
instantly, and then I go on to something else.
Maybe that's why I quit academia.
So yeah, and I was thinking you go to like one of these labs, like I ordered my yeast from the first time, and you partner with them. You say, hey, I'm gonna do this business. I want people to send these their samples.
The samples to you.
Yeah, and you culture their yeast and send it back to them, and they can make their own mead. I mean, the whole business plan is thought out. It's just that I'm like,
you're like, oh well, now that I know I can do it, why follow
why
through?
do it? Yeah.
Hashtag ADHD.
But if someone else wants it, hit me up.
Call Kyle for all your vaginal needs. You know what? I didn't check and see if the merkin you made was still up there.
Oh, she's still up there. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what a merkin is, it's a wig for your. Is there a name for that part?
It's the hood.
Is it the hood? Okay. Yeah, there's a wig for your hood. Yeah.
I love when men talk about vaginas. Because they get also really weirded out when I talk about vaginas too.
Why? I love talking about vaginas.
I like vagina. Like I'm openly queer, right? Like I have a partner and another partner, and you know, one is a man, one is a woman, and it is what it is. Like I think we should all be free in our desires. I think when we suppress them in this, this hetero world that's supposed, like marriage is based off of like what people needed money for after World War II, right? Like you need a 2-person household to survive in a capitalist environment. But like, we don't have to do that no more. So like, be free. Like, sit on someone's face. Have someone sit on your face.
You hippie, you.
Eat an ass or two.
Whoa.
It's my book. Hey, live fast, eat ass. Jerry bought me that shirt.
Yeah?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever eaten ass.
What?
Yeah.
Have you ever had your ass ate?
No.
No, dude, you have to have your ass ate. You're gonna love it. It might be weird at first, but you're gonna feel like a sensation. It'll be awesome.
Well, I've just recently broke my celibacy, so like.
Oh no, you were celibate for like what, like 2 years, a year
like
and a half?
a long time, man. Yeah, but I mean, I'm just not. I guess I'm not out running around just like trying to pursue getting my ass ate.
You should. I got a guy.
You got a guy?
I got a guy who sure has.
Jeez. I probably have a few guys that would eat it too.
Oh, no, absolutely. I can name a few. But I won't because this is public.
Yeah.
I would never want to throw anyone under the bus that way.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it was fun to break out into it again, but like, I just got to find the right person these days.
Well, that and like New Orleans is like the herpes capital of the country, so.
Well, so I recently had someone on that was talking about HIV and AIDS.
Yeah.
And she was saying that the HIV numbers are rising around here too. And it was a really, really interesting question that she asked me on the podcast, which is why I can't release that podcast because I gave my honest answer. But the question was, I've been asking everyone this now because I think it's a fascinating question.
Are you going to ask me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So I have to be honest? Of course I'm honest. I can't lie. I'm a horrible liar.
Yeah, be honest. But I mean, a lot of people have disagreed with me, which is fine. Like everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I have my own. But anyway, the question is, you're with someone.
Uh-huh.
You fall madly in love with them, but you hadn't been physical yet. which is already a hypothetical situation, right?
Right.
Okay. Anyway, you're with them. You fall madly in love with them. You haven't been physical yet. They come to you and they say, hey, I need to let you know something. I'm HIV positive, but I do take medication that makes me non-transmissive. Do you still be with this person? And do you get physical with them?
So I had a friend that experienced this, actually. And they continued to be with that person for a while. Personally, oh God, this is hard because I met someone on Bumble recently and they made it clear that they had herpes. And I was like, but we had already bonded over like all these things. We've been talking for months and then still not physical. And then he dropped the bomb and I was like,
the H bomb.
The H bomb. You like that, right? And I had to question myself. Like, I know this person is probably isolated, ostracized. I feel like it made him want to be a better quality person. Cause I was like, yo, like, how did you get this? He was like, I don't know. I was like, oh, so you had multiple partners. He was like, yeah, in short term. And I was like, oh, so you was a hoe. Cool. And you didn't wrap it up. Not cool. So now I have to think like, can I trust this person to be safe? And I think that because the person who I knew who had a HIV positive partner never got anything and was also on their medication. And I think there has to be a boundary. Like there are things that you cannot do sexually with someone who has something permanent like that. And I'm a lady in the street, but I'm a freak in the sheet. So my answer is going to be, that's the long way around of me saying no.
What things can you not do sexually? Because I would love to she didn't seem to think there was anything you couldn't do sexually with someone.
I don't want to eat a pussy with a face guard. You know what I mean? If there's an outbreak or there's a breakout.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because, anal, oral, vaginal sex, they teach you this in sex ed up north. I don't know how they do that here.
You're talking about with herpes.
And HIV, anal, oral.
According to her, HIV can't be transferred through saliva.
So not through saliva.
Yeah.
Even so, if that person's vaginal fluid, like let's say I'm eating pussy and vaginal fluid squirts in my face and there's an outbreak or there's like something, you know what I mean? I don't want to risk that.
I said no too.
I would just say no because you can find me on Instagram if you want to like holler. I'm an absolute freak in the sheets and it's snap Laura _ I'm kidding. Don't follow me. But I think that there's so much that I want to do. That's one thing I don't want to worry about as long as I'm worrying about already like being safe and not getting it like any other STI and not getting pregnant, right? Like
that was kind of my take too. I was like, I don't want this looming over my head for the rest of my life.
Well, not only that, but like, what if there's, and it's not to say, and I hate to say this because I don't want anyone who is experiencing this to feel bad, but it's just my personal preference. Like, I don't want to have to worry every week or every month, like, oh, if we didn't protect ourselves enough, or were we not safe enough?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to get tested tomorrow? Like, it's expensive.
Even there's a medication you can take too,
right,
to prevent you, but that's still another expense. And she was even saying there's a morning after pill now for HIV. So if you're with someone,
I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would Google that. Like I would Google.
Okay, she works in this field.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
like medical.
Edit all this.
That's all right. This is just one little snip.
Yeah, so then she works for that place.
Okay.
And yeah, so she knows all about it, and like she's doing this new stigma prevention thing.
Yes, that's important.
It's important, but that's also why they didn't let me release the podcast, because I gave my honest answer and they were like, well, that's not very good for stigma reduction.
And that's fair, because I don't think I understand this ideology of like preventing stigma, and I think that's important. But I also believe I should still be entitled to protect myself. I think actually I had a friend, she contracted herpes and she found a dating site for people who have herpes.
Yeah.
And it's not to say, and it sounds so horrible. Like, I don't want to group people, but like, wouldn't that be easier for your life? Like, to just, you got it, I got it, we got it together.
Yeah.
You know, like when you go on dates, you got to eat, I got to eat. Let's eat together.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I think if I contracted a disease like that, would I really want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't have it?
Well, because you would have to be responsible all the time. I can barely take care of myself. I mean, I do take care of myself, but I don't want to have to I want to have to manage something else in my life. You know what I mean? Especially, I'm already managing premenopause. Like, I don't want to manage anything else.
Well, especially if it was something that you caught just by being irresponsible.
Right. And
and now you want to settle down and be responsible.
Yes.
Like
and this is the thing I have with this guy that I met on Bumble. It's like, bro, you literally straight up told me it was just like, so you don't know. I was like, do you know who you got it from? No. Okay. So you had multiple partners in short term were the words. I'm like, bro, just say he's my other question that I didn't post to him was, did you contact those people and let them know that one of them gave you some?
Yeah.
Were you that responsible? But now you're looking for a long-term relationship because you're dealing with your shit. I don't want to be the scapegoat for you. Like, what kind of person were you before you contracted this that has made you not want to be a better man?
This is going to be loaded right here, but I'm about to give it to you. So I kind of feel the same way about single mothers.
Oh.
Yeah. Single mothers trying to date a man after they've already had kids. I kind of feel the same way about that. Like, why would you not date that man before you had kids?
Because people are irresponsible. You just,
Yeah. But if they,
I don't want a vagina gremlin.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of guys who are stepdads are just the guys that are filling in for the. What do they say? They say that stepdads are the guys they date after they've already. I forgot what the quote is. There's some quote out there that's floating around. That's like this.
I think the issue is this idea of the idea of a nuclear family is problematic, right?
Isn't that a weird way to say that too?
Nuclear?
There's nuclear family. Isn't that a weird thing? Like, how did that come?
The term itself.
Yeah, how did that come about?
I know. I don't know.
That sounds toxic as fuck.
Literally.
Yeah.
But exactly, the idea of a nuclear family is toxic because it's saying a family has to have a man and a woman or two parents. And I think our idea of families is, again, it's rooted in like the Great Depression, World War II. Like, what we had to do to survive was to partner up and exist in this capitalistic world. And the idea that it's something we have to do in order to survive is it's kind of fucked up.
Well, so having a father and a mother actually makes sense to me, but like, I don't think I could ever care for someone else's kid.
I could.
That's my issue.
I could, because I love kids. I just don't want any of mine.
I wonder if it's different because I'm a man and you're a woman though. Because like whenever I see a kid, I just want to like, if
Kick
it's not
him?
mine, yeah, just like,
oh no, not yours.
yeah. Well, no, I'm saying like if it's not mine, I just want to like get it away from me. Like if it's my niece and my nephew, I love those guys. Like they're dope as fuck. But if it's not my kid, I'm just like, why the fuck are you even here right now?
So I will say I love my niece, but I don't like my niece.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because of the way my sister's raising her. But like, I can only do like a couple hours with her because I was a preschool teacher. I've been teaching kids my whole life. I have them for X amount of time. And then I want my peace.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a vagina gremlin, you don't get your peace. It's it. It's terrifying. You have this thing I think about how much I leached off my mother and destroyed her hair. And like, I never want a thing to do that to me. A thing, it's an alien. It grows inside your body. It's weird. But I will love other people's children as long as I can give them back.
I guess I think more like a monkey. Like if a new gorilla takes over, gorillas, he kills all the babies.
Like lions.
Yeah, that way the mama go back in heat because he wants to raise his own offspring. He don't want to raise anyone else's.
So you're Darwining survival of the fittest, right?
That's why I stay away from anyone. I'm like, dude,
I mean, but I think I don't think it's about like cuckolding or like, I think the idea of a nuclear family is what pushes some women to want to have a partner. But because it is hard. Like, if you don't have family, if you don't have support, if you don't have resources, it's important to have a partnership. Like, even paying the bills is hard without a partner, but it's not unfathomable.
Pick right the first time.
Okay, but that's not fair because we all make mistakes. So if you make a mistake, whoops.
I mean, you know when a human's toxic or not.
No,
right?
some people don't, because some people mask their toxicity very well.
Well, maybe wait before you have a kid with them.
Well, that. But I mean, that's why abortion should be legal. Period.
I'm cool with that.
Some people should not have children. I know, because I'm currently a caseworker for 13 kids that are involved in the Department of Children and Family Services and in the juvenile system. And these are 16, 17, 18-year-old kids that have been, like, their parents are like crackheads or part of the 80s crack epidemic. And they were born with like PCP in their system, and they have all kind of neurological disorders, and they're all fucked up, and no one cares for them. They don't have clothes. They're neglected. And some people should just not be parents. And I think abortion should be free for everybody who, like, yo, I literally cannot support this growing inside of me. I need it out. I mean, the crime rate went down after Roe v. Wade, because 18 years later, you don't have these negligent children becoming negligent adults with no guidance, fucking the world up. You know what I'm saying? Some people should just not have children.
You're bringing up interesting points.
Sorry. that's my rant.
No, you're bringing up interesting points, but it's like, yes, I think that you should be able to kill your kid if you want to.
It's not a kid. It's a seed. It's a little embryo.
What does it matter what we call it? You should be able to kill it. Whatever it is. If you want to and it's growing in your body, yes, kill it. But at the same time, it's like, make better fucking choices. Like, if you don't want to have a kid, then get your shit taken out whenever you're young, or just don't have sex.
Well, what if you're raped? But there's also the case of rape.
Yeah, if you're raped, get an abortion. But I'm saying the point is like, I think people are just irresponsible in their choices they're making. It has nothing to do with like, everyone's just going out fucking each other. Like, find a hobby, do something besides just going out and spending your life trying to seek pleasure.
But that's the world we live in though now.
Yeah. So,
and it's gotten more prevalent.
So it's education that's the problem. It's not, instead of overcoming the monkey mind, we're literally regressing back into a monkey mind state.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point. I didn't think about it that way. But I will say, like, I don't know. I know that people make choices, and I think we're allowed our mistakes, but I think it's fair for people to have the opportunity to make those mistakes and be able to correct it.
Yes, but learn from them and don't make them again and again and again.
I mean, I'm not saying
again.
Someone should go out and like have 10 abortions.
There are people that have, though. There are people that think that's their plan B.
If you made plan B over the counter, then maybe
we were looking in.
Maybe we'd end up with abortion.
Like, I'm not sure how legal it is what we do around here, but you know that someone like brings us boxes of plan B when we need them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So like they're like in the bar. Yes, but I'm not sure how legal that is.
It's not in Louisiana. It's not legal in Louisiana, so you probably shouldn't.
Well, no, there's a guy that is from, I don't know where he comes from, but yeah, anytime we call him, he's like, here you go. And I was in Walgreens the other night. I was looking at him. There's like $50, $60 boxes.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
It is. But I think if we made it more affordable, then we wouldn't have so many quote unquote, oopsies. You know what I mean?
I had an oopsie one time in college.
Everyone has an oopsie.
Yeah. And I felt sorry for the girl because I realized, because back then they were, instead of doing a plan B pill, they would give you an entire thing of birth control.
Yeah.
And tell you to like take 2 pills every 30 minutes or something like that until you get through the whole pack.
Wow.
But it's basically,
that was Arkansas.
No, it was Tennessee. Yeah, but it's basically the same thing that plan B does. It just like puts a huge amount of estrogen in your body.
That's so fucked up.
To stimulate the monthly cycle and push everything out. But I saw what it did to her whenever she took all this.
Yeah.
And so it's not good for you to do over and over again, but it is something nice to like just have on hand if you have an accident.
I mean, statistically, a majority of women have at least 2 abortions in their lifetime. And that's pretty standard because
that's a wild stat.
Google it. Googlealo.
I believe you, but I mean,
Googlealo.
like I'll ask ChatGPT. That's even
Ask ChatGPT.
Let's see.
How on average, how many abortions do women have in their lifetime?
That's insane, dude. That's true. Okay, let's see.
How many women have abortions in their lifetime?
How many women or how many abortions do women have?
Oh yeah, how many abortions do women have in their lifetime? He's Googling it. In Spanish, we say Googlealo. Well, that's in Puerto Rico.
I'm ChatGPTing it.
Oh, ChatGPT.
Look how quick that is.
Oh my God.
Most women who have an abortion will only have one in their lifetime.
That's a lie.
Studies show approximately 60% of women who have an abortion have only one, while around 25% might have two. A smaller percentage, about 15, may have three or more. Damn, son. That's still a lot, though.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, what do you think that is? You think it's like...
I think it's lack of education. I think when you
but there's a thing called maternal instinct.
Well, yes.
You don't think that some people have that, or you think they're just like turning away from it, or?
I have a friend who just had a child last week, and she hates kids, but she's like, mine's not going to be like that, and I think she's like struggling postpartum because I don't know if she's fully bonded with her child yet. But I think what's even outside of maternal instinct, I think that I think when I had sex education in like 5th grade, you know, right when you start puberty, we had 3 different sex ed classes. We had one that talked about abstinence. Then we had one that talked to us about how to have sex ed. And then we had another one that talked to us about STDs and HIV. Like, I'm talking blue waffles type shit, even though that's not real. Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Showed us the videos and stuff. So you know, in Chicago, it's standard for us to have that in 5th grade and in 6th grade. But when you start hitting puberty, and I think I might be wrong because I'm not from the South, but considering the way things kind of roll down here, they only teach abstinence and not how to have sex safely. So I wonder if that's one reason herpes is prevalent here. I also wonder if that's another thing why there are so many, you know, people having children. I also wonder if that's why, you know what I'm saying? So I think lack of education is at the root. Lack of acknowledging sex, being like a Christian, Judeo-Christian country, hiding from sex is doing more harm than being able to talk to and educate about how to have sex in your nature as a human.
Stick it in. Problem solved. No, we
with a condom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Use a condom.
Are you recording this?
Yeah, it's recording.
It's like a video.
Yeah, it's a video.
I'm glad I put eyeliner on. Sorry, I don't have this cat.
Yeah. So we had one sex ed class. I think it was like in 5th grade too. But it was the only one that was the one where they show you all the diseases. So they tried to terrify you.
Yeah, terrify you.
Yeah.
This is what HPV. Yo, though, that shit got me.
But I mean, like for me, it was like, yeah, this is all disgusting. But I didn't hit puberty till I was like in 11th grade.
I think I hit puberty in no, I was 14. It was like my 8th grade. I was 8th grade.
Oh, dude, I was 11th grade. It was nuts. Dude, I had this squeaky ass voice.
But I'm sure you shot up like 10 feet.
Yeah. So over my 11th grade and 12th grade.
Because you're like at least 2 feet taller than me.
Yeah, I went from 5'8" to 6'3".
Jesus Christ.
Over the summer. Nuts.
I went from an A cup to a C cup over a summer. Everybody that came back from school, everybody was like, oh, titties.
Yeah, same here, but I was just like a giant. I was talking like this. Yeah, guys, I finally hit puberty. Got my first nut hair.
Wait, what's that show? Loud Mouth on Netflix?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, a puberty hair. Everyone has, I swear to God, sometimes I still feel like I have a puberty monster. If I'm horny, I'm like, I have to have sex.
You think so? Just whispering in your ear?
Sex.
Yeah, I think that's, so even the celibacy, I think that's where I overcame like those urges. Because I feel like that's just the monkey mind telling you to do things. And until you like actually deal with that, it's hard to overcome those feelings.
I wonder if some of that too is like frontal lobe development, right? Like your frontal lobe closes and makes decisions and you're like 25 or some shit. But I mean, we're humans, we're animals. Like no one, like my sister will never admit it. Also, my sister's a cunt and I have no problem saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah, so many people hate that when you say that to them.
but it's true.
Yeah.
Like we have the same mammalian instincts. We have hair, we have fur, skin is an organ. Like, how are we not? We are just more. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Boom. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
That's where you're going with that?
Yep, that was it.
No, I mean you're exactly right. Like
Because we didn't develop mitochondria until we started eating protein. We didn't start evolving until.
I don't know how you got from there to there. I feel like you just jumped to a whole nother topic.
That's my ADD.
Like literally, we're animals, and yes, we have animal instincts.
Right, and then mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. The only reason that we're able to control those instincts is because we have evolved to process that, and we have a sense of control. Sometimes, most of the time, I think, if you're not an impulsive person, but even then, there's like psychological neurodivergence. But essentially, yes, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's like the easiest way I can put it about like maintaining our animal instincts in evolution.
I would say that probably 99% of the people you meet have no control over these things.
Over what? Like
over their instinctual urges. Like that's why you see all these like excessively obese people walking around because they have this urge to eat food.
Some people have like a thyroid issue.
Yeah, we can say these things all we want, but literally, like that's maybe like 1% of people.
No.
We wouldn't have an obese population if people knew how to control the way they eat. We wouldn't have a population that's depressed all the time and people knew how to go exercise rather than sit there and binge watch TV all day.
No. So here's the thing, though. I'm going to interject with this.
Yeah.
That in Europe, again, I think because of the way we process food here, it is different. So like if you go to Europe, everything, like I lived in Italy for a semester in Florence and everything is fresh. Like those are the cows. Those are the ones we're eating. And that's it. You know, this is the chicken. This is the pig. This is how we make our prosciutto. It's like everything is made fresh. Like they do not allow hormones in their food. Like it's illegal to do that in Italy. So I think it's strange the way that our food is made here and what we choose to eat versus what's available for us to eat.
I agree with you. Processed foods are an issue, but I mean, you can look around and see some people that are in shape. Like there are ways.
Oh, are you calling me fat?
No, I'm just saying.
I've lost weight since I was in Chicago though, because it's
talking about myself. Like there are choices you can make and things you can do if you overcome the urge to just gorge yourself with food and be lazy.
Okay.
Makes sense as an animal.
Okay.
If you're an animal living in the wild, you don't want to burn calories. So you consume food when it's available, store fat, and then be lazy. But as humans, like you need to get up and be active and you need to eat things that aren't just rich in calories.
All right. So I'm going to toss this at you.
Yeah, I'll listen to you.
My brother has a syndrome called Prader-Willis.
Okay.
So his brain, and he's autistic. So his brain, you know that feeling you get when you're full? Like you're just like, oh, I'm full.
Okay.
And you know when to stop eating. His neurons don't connect to that part of his brain. So he never knows when he's full. So his weight is always up and down. So he eats. And like, of course, we make an effort to take him to the gym and whatnot. But again, like if you have like a Prader-Willis.
What's it called?
Prader, Prader, Willis, Willis.
Prater? D-E-R?
Prader-Willis. So he doesn't know when to stop eating because his brain doesn't tell him that he's full. So he's never full. He's never had full food satisfaction. He's 30 wonderful and he's special needs and he's neurodivergent and he's amazing.
0.003% of people have this. Mm-hmm. Therefore, you can't even make this argument.
It's not an argument. It's just to say it's possible. It happens.
Yes.
Because it's personal to me.
0.003% of the time.
I told you he was special.
Around.
I told you he was special. This is also the South. Everything here is deep fried.
There across the street is your, that's test subject number 1.
No. I just don't like being cruel about people who can't control.
Being cruel. It's not being cruel. It's being honest. We're looking at the world and we're going, this is what we see.
Yes.
Like the world that we live in, like you have to be able to do this. The fact that we're trying to be nice to every little person and every little thing is like part of the problem. We have issues these days.
I just want a group. Like I think it's circumstantial because of small, even if it's 0.003%.
But we're not talking about your brother. Your brother has a special case scenario.
Right. But but what if someone has like thyroid? Like, look at Wendy Williams.
Should I ask?
Let's go. To do it.
Okay.
Yes. This is fun.
Come on. Where's copy at? Come here. Copy.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We're asking about thyroid issues this time.
How many people in the
Percentage of the
U.S. have
population
thyroid issues, right?
Well, I'm just doing the population. This is all
population?
over the world. Yeah.
Okay.
Has thyroid issues.
Because I have a.
Okay, 10 to 12% of the global population.
Okay, but it's
so
a big
we're talking
world.
9 billion people. 10
Correct.
to 12% of that.
Like 900,000.
It's very small still.
Fair, but like I don't know. I'm just I want to be
too nice. You're too nice. Like I love it.
But don't tell anybody.
No.
I'm not supposed to be nice. I'm supposed to be like assertive and mean. That's my bartender personality. You're putting me on blast by letting me be too nice.
No, the world needs people that are nice, but the world also needs people that look at the world and go, this is what reality actually is.
I'm not saying it's not real. I just want to be compassionate about people's circumstances because we never know what someone's going through. And if I think about like people who are overly obese, like what's the root of because it's not about the food. It's always about me and my mom have this conversation all the time. It's not about the food. It's not about what we think it is. What's the root of the issue and why is it not being addressed?
I agree with that.
Because it's not about the food.
I agree.
And I think that if we give people access to mental health care, if people are willing to perceive that, if we made healthcare free, I think we would have a lot less obese people in the United States.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's more, once again, education.
Education.
I think that's a big part of it because you come into this world in a body that you don't know how to work with. Like you're getting these urges and you're getting these things, but you don't know how to overcome these urges. So then you just give into them eventually. And when societal pressures start getting on top of you also, then you really give into the urges. My dad is an amazing human being, but he stress eats. Yeah, and stress eating.
Because eating is not the issue. It's the stress.
It's the stress, yeah. And I tell him this too. I even call him out. I'm like, dude, you're stress eating right now. He's like, yeah, I know. But he never stops. He just keeps doing it. It's just like his mechanism that he gives into. Yeah, his comfort mechanism.
It's a coping skill.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't say skill, but like it's coping.
Yeah. So you have to figure out other things to do to be able to not eat when you get stressed. And it's like these are things that we're not taught as humans coming into this world. It's like this is more educational stuff.
Yeah. So essentially, I think, again, I'm definitely agreeing with you that the root of it is lack of, again, like this whole conversation has been about lack of education and over education, right? Like this idea that education is just one thing to prove and have a paper for, when really there's so many, again, different types of education and knowledges that we need for each other and to be better human beings. Period. And that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
No, actually,
I can't believe you have me on here on camera wiping my face all crazy.
I know. It's
I didn't know it was on camera.
What, like, normally it's not as hot in here as it is today, but for some reason it's just like fucking muggy and humid as shit.
Hot flash. I'm having hot flashes.
It's not just you. I mean,
Premenopausal.
I'm used to it though. Like,
I've been gone for like 9 months.
Well, I go outside every day and I meditate in the sunlight, like direct sunlight.
If I sit with Apollo, so my dog, Apollo, this big ass Labrador, right? He likes to sit in this little chair I have on my front porch and just like watch the neighborhood. So like my morning meditation is sitting out there with him in the sun because like I only get sun from east to west, right? And just watching. That's my meditation.
You got to support your son, man. Got to support him in his hobbies.
Yeah, you know what? And he doesn't, I don't have to like take him to school. I just school his ass.
Well, Laura, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast today. I hope you enjoy your last night here in I know. What do you have planned tonight?
So I'm gonna go back hang out with the girls. I'm coming to karaoke. It's Blazing Haven, and it's Lizzie's going away karaoke. She's leaving on Tuesday, so this is a big goodbye to Lizzie, and then I'm going to. I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this weekend. I'm totally taking Tuesday off. And then I'm going to go to the Drifter with Ange and Vance tomorrow morning.
Nice. Because
she's got to be here at night. So she's going to drop me off at the airport before she comes here to open the bar. And then I'm going back to Chicago. Look, I'm already like so like ronca. I don't know how to say it, but ronca from being excited screaming last night.
Yeah. Well, do you want the people to follow you on social medias?
No, not really. But if you want to, I can like approve it. Oh, snap. Because that's what I say. Oh, snap. Or that's what people be like. Oh, snap, Laura. OSCHNAP_LAURA. Laura.
Perfect. Thank you for coming on again.
Thank you, Kyle.